You're not thinking alone. Every idea that crosses your mind might be tuning into an invisible field that connects forms, habits, and consciousness across all of nature. That's where our exploration begins. If patterns repeat themselves with such elegance, from the design of a leaf to the synchronized flight of a flock, maybe there's more at play than local causes and obedient molecules. Maybe there's an informational fabric, a living memory within reality itself, guiding the emergence of form and behavior. This idea is known as the morphogenetic field, from morphe, meaning form, and genesis, meaning origin. It's not a new physical force like gravity or electromagnetism, but an organizing principle that acts as a matrix of information. Genes, hormones, and chemical signals are still essential, but the real question is, what aligns them into such precise spatial and temporal patterns? The theory suggests there's an invisible map, a dynamic blueprint to which matter responds, like iron filings tracing the magnetic lines of a hidden field. The concept took shape through Rupert Sheldrake, a British biologist intrigued by the gap between genotype and form. In his view, nature doesn't operate only through fixed laws, it also develops habits. Each time a pattern occurs, it becomes slightly more likely to happen again. That's how the notion of the memory of nature arises, a kind of accumulated memory that stabilizes the behavior of living systems, material structures, and even cultural processes. It's not psychological or stored in a brain. It's a property of the field, diffuse, relational, and historical. The proposed mechanism for this memory is called morphic resonance. Similar systems, sharing structure and function, resonate with each other and make it easier for patterns to repeat. It's not about energy being transmitted, but about information syncing, like two instruments vibrating on the same note without touching. Think of crystals forming faster after the first synthesis has been recorded in the field of that substance, or populations learning a task more easily as the habit spreads elsewhere. These are suggestive clues that call for careful testing, and this is exactly where scientific controversy becomes part of the process. Critics demand measurable mechanisms, blind protocols, and clear predictions. Fair enough. Science moves forward when bold ideas face tough tests. Still, the value of a hypothesis can also be heuristic. It can open new questions, inspire new methods, and challenge us to look again at what we thought we already understood. Between rejecting by dogma and accepting by faith lies a fertile ground. Open, curious skepticism, willing to investigate. It's common to associate, and sometimes confuse, the morphogenetic field with the quantum field. They share philosophical similarities such as interconnection, the primacy of information, and apparent non-locality, but they describe different things. The quantum field is mathematically defined and experimentally verified. The morphogenetic field, for now, is more of an informational model that tries to explain how forms and habits organize themselves, without any universally accepted equations. If physics describes the vibrational stage of the world, the morphic hypothesis would speak about the script that the stage learns through repetition. Energy moves, information organizes. This organization becomes clear in biological morphogenesis. From a simple set of genes, a complete body emerges, with its symmetry, proportions, and precise repair mechanisms. Even when cells are moved around, tissues often find their way back as if following an invisible map. Biochemistry and biomechanics explain a lot, but the precision and resilience of this process still suggests some kind of distributed organizational intelligence, a developmental field that pulls each organism toward its most stable possible form. On larger scales, we see the intelligence of collectives. Flocks of birds, schools of fish, swarms of insects, all display order without a central command. Models with local rules like keep distance, align, or cohere simulate much of this behavior, but some finer synchronies hint at a shared reference, a common pattern. Here, the morphogenetic field offers another layer of understanding. The group taps into a repertoire of stable behaviors, and each time they're enacted, that pattern becomes more deeply imprinted, like a path that deepens the more it's walked. And what about the mind? Sheldrake speaks of the extended mind, the idea that consciousness isn't locked inside the skull, but operates as a field that interacts with other fields in the environment. The brain would be less like a generator and more like a tuner, a radio that adjusts to frequencies from an ocean of information. When many minds share similar states, attention, compassion, fear, the pattern strengthens in the human field, making it easier for others to access. From this point of view, thinking is like planting seeds. Every intention leaves a trace in our collective informational ecosystem. This is where Carl Jung's idea of synchronicity comes in, as a bridge between meaning and causality. Meaningful coincidences with no direct causal link can be seen as pattern convergences. Moments when someone's inner state aligns with a broader design of events. Life stops feeling like a random sequence and starts to look like a dialogue, a subtle choreography between consciousness and the world, where symbols also carry information. Human practices, rituals, languages, and arts work as field stabilizers. Coherent repetitions create cultural pathways, living traditions that move through us and shape who we are. In the digital age, this dynamic has accelerated. Ideas circulate, strengthen, or dissolve at unprecedented speed. That increases our responsibility. Curating attention becomes a kind of field hygiene. What we consume, repeat, and share helps solidify patterns, both of clarity and of noise. The spiritual implications of this view are profound. If everything is connected to everything else, ethics stop being just an external rule and become a kind of vibrational ecology. What we emit comes back to us by resonance, because it never really left us. Practices like meditation, prayer, gratitude, and service are no longer just personal rituals. They're fine-tuned engineering of inner patterns that radiate into the collective. In this sense, spirituality and science aren't rivals. One takes care of meaning, the other of method. Together, they take care of reality. Perhaps that's why this idea resonates with ancient traditions. Spinoza's God as the order of nature, the Brahman recognizing itself in every Atman, the Tao that flows through all things. We may prefer a secular language, a field information habit, but the heart of the idea remains the same. Unity within diversity, form as music, life as the universe learning about itself. And so, we reach the synthesis. Even without definitive proof, the morphogenetic field invites us to see reality as a living network of information. Physics reveals the web. Biology shows the dance of forms. Consciousness gives it meaning, and by giving meaning, it reinforces the patterns. The real question isn't just, is this true? That remains open and worthy of scientific inquiry. But also, which patterns do we choose to strengthen while we explore? Because if nature learns through repetition, then every action we take is a lesson for the whole. In daily life, this translates into simple but powerful choices. Paying attention to what we think, feel, and repeat. Staying committed to inner coherence. Being mindful of what we put into circulation. If the universe is a field that remembers, then we are co-authors of the world's memory. And in that role, it's worth ending with a gentle reminder. Nothing stands alone. At every moment we are tuning the great orchestra. May our note help the whole sound truer, more beautiful, and more awake.